I haven't
because you
either.
were in a literature major.
Well.
But it's just
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This podcast is still very gay, sometimes good, and always gorgeous, and we are here to discuss new topics this week. What topics did we bring today? Clayton?
I wanted to talk about the Valorant Genius marketing strategy and how they've implemented marketing for their new game.
Explain what Valorant is to some people who probably don't know.
It is a video game that is like CS:GO and Overwatch at a baby.
In as few words as possible, I think that's enough. And for you?
I wanted to talk about how Avatar is back on Netflix and how great it is.
Ooh,
Fucking yes.
And,
that's gonna be a good one. The only thing I really brought to the playlist today was anime or crossword puzzles, because I've been doing a lot of them recently, and I have not realized how much I enjoyed
I
them.
love crossword puzzles.
So what are we feeling?
They bring me joy.
I mean, I'll always talk about Avatar.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
too. I think we can start with Avatar. It's a good
Perfect.
Perfect!
I like that we
So
always
Micah's
choose my
topic wins
topics.
again.
She brings the best topics.
Listen, bitch.
Okay, so who wants... Well, since it's your topic, why don't you lead off?
Well, so I mainly want to talk about it because I was realizing how ahead of its time the show is as far as wokeness, all the super feminist characters,
Yeah.
female leads. They have so many disabled characters.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
Or just as
It's just so
capable.
ahead of the time, and then political stuff is wow, that's happening right now.
Yeah, and
A lot of the stuff they're talking about.
yeah. And also it's just fucking quality for
It is such quality.
for what you watched when you were 12.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I can rewatch it and see all of the amazing adult themes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And appreciate them.
But it's still
so
definitely a
much.
child show.
I definitely thought whenever I was younger watching the video, watching the series, that it was really, really good and I was entertained, obviously, but it wasn't until I was older that I realized the underlying messages throughout the show.
It's a very well written
Yes.
So, and there's so many, even in season 3, there are moments and callbacks to
what happened in the first season.
Just the smallest of things that happened in season 1.
Well, what I enjoy about it right now is that I think a lot of people are kind of over the fact that there's so many new people jumping on the bandwagon, or at least that's kind of what I've seen online. Yeah, because some people are like, I'm sorry, I've been a fan since day one, and I'm like, okay, but these people weren't born yet.
Yeah, but those are also the fucking lame Star Wars people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But my other thing about it is
well, now just lost all of the Star Wars people. Listen to
Star Wars is fucking amazing. It's not that Star Wars is lame. It's the fact that the people who...
You heard it here.
The people
you think
who,
Star Wars is lame.
We all heard it.
The people who don't want Star Wars to be for new fans as well. Fuck you.
No,
we're trying to have everybody enjoy the thing.
Yeah, no, I definitely see what he's saying.
Star Wars demographic, though, is people who weren't alive when the first ones came out.
Yeah.
Right.
And I wasn't alive whenever the first ones came out, too.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought you were. You were 70.
I'm older than time itself. No, but as far as Avatar is concerned, to bring it back to that, I
see that shade.
No, fucking sass right there.
Just to bring it back to the topic. What I mean by that is, I think it speaks for itself how the show is having such an impact on the people who are seeing it for the first time, because it literally stands the test of time.
It definitely
is
does.
Still timeless. All the people that are getting into it now, instead of focusing on the fact that you newbies who are interested, it's the fact that these people aren't this is a dumb show, this is stupid,
Yeah.
Right.
Why are we watching this?
Yeah.
People are really getting into it and enjoying it because it's a great show with a great message still.
Yeah, legitimately, I rewatched it months ago before it got on Netflix because I own it. And there are only 1 or 2 episodes where you kind of are wow, this is a kid's show, and you're annoyed at it as an adult. You know what I mean?
Put some
But you know what I'm
fillerish-
saying?
Yeah.
I know what you're
it's
saying.
only 1 or 2.
Yeah.
When there's not a lot of shows that can do that.
Almost every episode is significant.
Yeah.
Almost.
There's the only one that's fucking pointless is the one that is about the 2 warring tribes going
But it
across
has
the
a
canyon.
good message in it.
It does. That message is still
That's
everything is based on perception. What the facts of what happened in that episode
Yeah.
are somewhere in the middle of these 2 radically opposed different opinions.
In season 3 so far, I don't want to spoil it, but it's the same thing. It's perception. The Fire Nation believes a certain thing that happened, and then
Right.
It
that was
still
such
brings
a
it
good
back.
episode, right? Whenever,
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness. I know. But just, like, the way that we're shown, like, how they think the war is going
It's
versus
really great.
how
Well, it's even at the... It's
propaganda, man.
Yeah, it's even highlighted at the very end with, like, the final struggle that Aang goes through as far as the season finale of, like, it's these two black and white opinions of either this needs to happen, has to happen,
Right.
or, like, it doesn't need to happen at all.
Yeah.
And, like, not to spoil anything, obviously, but what really needed to happen in that moment was somewhere in the middle.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think, like, when I was in college, like, I learned that, like, the Odyssey is, like, this great epic, right?
Yes.
But, like, every good story follows the same narrative themes as the Odyssey. Is, like, the hero has to go through valleys and peaks the entire time for the story to maintain and be relevant throughout. Like, he can't just always be this perfect hero.
Yeah.
Right.
What was
And-
y'all's most emotional
You
part
know,
of the
why
series?
would you do this to me?
Most emotional?
Yes. What
goodness.
episodes, like, you could... if
Every
you-
episode has something that makes me
But,
cry.
like, the one that always makes you, like, always gets you, like, without fail.
Season 2, when they do, like, the short stories of each character,
In Iroh?
I
Oh.
cry every time at the end
Dude.
when he's singing Happy Birthday.
That one is
Like,
very rough.
That one
Soldier
really makes me
Boy.
sad. That one and then Appa, when Appa's lost.
Yeah. My one is always... It's, like... It kind of plays into it because I know what happens, but the one that always gets me is, like, right after the library. And
Oh,
and,
yes.
and Aang realizes what happens, and he goes through such a
Searching.
radical shift in his character
Mhm.
that it's just so good to watch. It's such good to
Yeah.
see him
It's so
not
sad.
be that 12-year-old person for, like, a few episodes.
It's really interesting, too. Like, it's awesome to see a main character struggle with things. You know
Well,
what I
that's
mean?
the point. They have to.
Yeah.
To be a good character. Just
Just
like a
like-
villain.
Because one thing that got me was the episode whenever they go to the Southern Air Temple for the first time. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that one's
And
really
he sees
sad.
Monk Gyatso.
I know.
And, this is just one of those cool things where, like, that, like, what you see Monk Gyatso wearing in the statue and in the skeleton
Mm-hmm.
anchors at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's just so good. Like,
Okay,
there's
okay,
so
will you
many
say that
things.
again because you kind of choked out. And what's at the end?
He wears it at the end.
end. There you go.
I was kind of like noticing that because we're rewatching it now, but when I was a kid, I think I missed episodes. Like, I don't think I
Oh,
watched
yeah.
it.
100%
I think
we
I
did.
watched it sporadically because I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
remember this episode at all.
I
and
know
I'm
that I
watching
watched
now.
it
but I
not
also watched.
continuously.
I think I did the same,
Yeah.
but I also watched like a shit ton of TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
So-
one thing that, like, is really cool about, like, how we view media now.
Mm-hmm.
Because before, it was just, like, when you could catch an episode on Saturday morning, right?
Oh
If
yeah.
your dad wasn't making you do chores and shit.
Yeah.
Like, but now we can just sit down and watch every single thing the way it was meant to be done. But it
But
still
also
didn't
isn't
change how
as
fucking epic,
exciting.
like, that last episode was
Yeah.
for all of us.
Well, but it's also kind of fun, like, to have a cliffhanger and be like, oh, I have to watch it next week. And it
Yeah.
also gives you time to really mull over that episode.
And the
Yeah.
messages that
Versus
it had.
now.
Yeah. I think that's interesting, too. Like, do you think... I really think that Game of Thrones is probably going to be the last universally watched across the country, like, everyone's hanging on the edge of their seat week by week thing.
I just
don't
don't
think
think
so.
I don't think
You
so.
don't think
I
so?
don't think
No.
another show like that has come out yet.
I don't know, because, like, most things are just coming out in, like, droves. They're just
Not
releasing
everything.
the season, you know what I mean?
On Netflix, but like Hulu like does like by episode stuff too.
Did you see that?
Yes, but I just, like, I haven't seen anything that is as impactful, I guess.
Did you see the comparison between Avatar and Game of Thrones?
Yes, I love that
What?
meme.
Oh my gosh.
It's pretty
Literally, look at this. It's amazing. I'm going to pull it up on my phone.
Send it to me so that I can include it in the...
Like, the way that Avatar was written and the way that they handled, like, the whole series progression and the character development as well as the season finale is leaps and bounds better.
so
than
much
Game of
better.
Well, listen, it
Thrones.
follows the Odyssey
Yeah.
method.
It's the same kind of thing.
I've actually never heard that, like, analysis.
I
well,
haven't
it's because you
either.
weren't
I
a
like that.
literature major.
Well.
But it's just
And on
interesting.
that.
Like, honestly.
No, but that's really like the base. Like if you really think about it, every great show follows the Odyssey as far as like
Mhm.
he goes here and then he has trouble he has to deal with and figure out, and then he goes through this time where he's not a good person, and then
Yeah.
he is a good person,
So
It
then,
kinda
and
finds his way
it
back.
all involves finding your way back and getting home,
Yeah.
and whatever the home is.
Yeah. So then I have a question.
Yes.
As somebody who isn't a literary major,
Actually, I have a degree now. Okay.
As someone who can't say literary.
Like, so when one argument that I've always made, especially for like Star Wars and Avatar and like stuff like that, is whenever something is good, you don't necessarily ever give a shit about the plot.
No,
you give a shit about the
I think
character
you do.
and how the character interacts with it.
I
It's
think
not
it
necessarily.
depends on the story.
And so I was wondering if like the Odyssey like is more focused on like the character itself,
Or is it
or like
focused
an
on the
overarching
journey?
plot.
It's both.
Because like the one
He has
criticism,
many adventures every time that you become invested in, but you're still very invested in him as a character.
right, but
It depends on the story.
right, and maybe I'm not clear. Maybe I'm not saying what I mean clearly enough. I think that story is driven by, like, the plot is driven by the decisions that the character makes, instead of, oh, the plot is happening and the character's just going
Or just
along for
in
the
it.
ride.
Well, I don't necessarily
that's
think
Much
not a
better
good-
stories.
That's not a good story.
Well, but I don't
Right.
necessarily think that that's true in the case of Avatar, because regardless of the decisions that they make throughout the show, the comet is still coming. Like,
No,
that is
that's
the main...
overall.
Like, that's the overall plot, is that he
Right.
has to learn
well, you have to
and
have
do that.
Right,
But the character is what's driving the story, though.
right. Like the character himself and the decisions that he has made is
Yeah.
what has brought us to this moment.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And like that's one thing that I've always like argued for. Is
You should
like
be invested in the plot, but you want to create characters that you can relate to
Right.
or that people can envision.
Yeah.
And
And what I
support
was
and rally
like,
Yeah.
behind.
whenever I make this
Or
comparison,
hate. I mean,
Yeah.
like, you have to be able to make a character feel real. Like, it can't be flat. Even
Right.
if the plot is an amazing plot, if the character is really flat, it's not going to
Right.
succeed.
kind of like how the difference between, I guess, like this might be controversial.
Oh, no.
Well, you already said Star Wars is lame, so.
Well, the new Star Wars movies compared to the old Star Wars movies,
Oh, they suck.
you really feel like the decisions and like the characters are what makes you love the old series
It's nostalgia.
versus now. Because now it feels like they're just shoving like crazy plots at us and then having characters along the ride for these
Well,
plots.
see, I don't always
Well, because
necessarily
it's-
agree with that either,
it's fan
because...
servicing.
Yeah.
Right.
Because for me, like,
And they do a
there's
lot of
so much
callback.
love for the characters from the original trilogy, but even those characters in the new videos or movies were not enough for me to be like, oh, this is so
Well,
good just because Leia is here.
That's
this is
what
so
I'm
good
saying.
because
Han
Solo's
I
here.
think
It's like,
that's
nope,
why
still sucks.
they had all of them in there because nobody would want to see those Star Wars movies if those characters hadn't been in there.
Yeah, they were just trying to insert
Understandable.
10 cc's of
Well, I don't
nostalgia
necessarily
into it.
believe that, because look how successful the Mandalorian was. None
That's a
of those
whole
characters...
separate thing, though.
Yeah,
But
but again,
it's the
like,
proof
what-
that you can still create an
can't.
immersive world in that same
But they
universe
Did
that
it because
doesn't...
they needed box office
Yeah.
movies
But you know
to
what-
draw
Yes.
people in.
But that's a really good point. The Mandalorian is driven by the decisions that he makes to keep the kid and to keep
Well, they're
doing the
also
things
just
that he wants to do.
they're westerns, which is the
Question.
new version of an Odyssey.
Question. How many people do you think got excited for The Mandalorian because of how iconic Boba Fett was a character from the original trilogy, though? Like, without
I
that
think
pre-existing
that- here's the thing.
fan obsession,
I think that gets
would The
people
Mandalorian
in
been as
who don't-
popular?
No.
Yeah.
They're
What's
like,
happening?
oh, that must be Boba Fett. And then, like, they get in, they're like, okay, it's not Boba Fett, but I'm interested.
Well, there's a rumor that Boba Fett's going to be in the next season, and I
Yes,
don't
but-
understand that.
Ew.
I don't understand that.
Yes,
Ew.
but I mean,
that would just be lame. Like who gives a shit? Like, Boba Fett is the most, like, I don't understand it part of Star Wars. Because who
I
gives a
enjoy
shit?
it.
He just has cool armor and he does nothing. He dies.
could
Why
that be
is he
said
so
for a
cool?
lot of Star Wars characters, though?
Yeah! Captain Phasma is just the Boba Fett of the new trilogy.
Yeah, but
Like, there's no point to that.
I do agree that Captain Phasma's, like, send-off was, like, literally anticlimactic.
He was so fucking...
But, at the same time, Avatar.
Yes.
it's a trap!
To get it back to Avatar again.
So, wait, who's your favorite character?
Oh, that's really tough.
Sokka, probably.
I love Sokka.
No. It's probably, like, a tie between Zuko and Iroh.
I think Iroh would be more for you.
Because, like, one of my favorite parts about the series is how it takes the adult theme of, like, abuse
Yeah,
And, like,
also mental illness is like a big
Yes.
But like
and
abuse
daddy
specifically,
issues.
yeah, abuse specifically
Daddy.
is like thrown.
Let me
into
bring
the
some
face.
context to that part of the conversation. Zuko was a very defining gay awakening moment
a
for me.
Daddy.
Oh, really?
Yes,
I don't think
but
I was like,
not
how did I
done.
not have a crush on him?
Oh,
when
I
was
had a
child?
Oh,
huge
he's the
crush
ultimate
on
so
him.
sad
hot.
boy.
So hot.
I had a huge crush on him from the first Agni Kai. I was like, oh, okay, I could get behind the show. I could get in front of the show. I really, really enjoyed him. But then I was like, when you were introduced finally to Fire Lord Ozai, I was like,
Daddy.
Oh,
he's just so attractive.
Speaking of Star
No, he's
Wars,
not.
Speaking of Star Wars, it's Luke Skywalker again.
For Fire Lord Ozai is Mark Hamill.
Yes.
Yes.
That's so cool.
Back to Avatar. No, I really liked Fire Lord Ozai, but my favorite character by far has always been Azula. Just
Bad bitch Azula.
her entire
She's
journey
fabulous.
is so insane to watch.
I
You
love
see this
Azula.
you see this young child essentially be given unbelievable amount of control and power, and she just dissolves under the pressure.
Well, she
and she
also they
cracks,
just
and it's
want to.
amazing.
They want their dad to love them.
Yeah.
That's all
They're
they want.
both
That's all it
seeking the
is.
same thing.
Right. It's just, doing it through two completely different avenues. And one has a guiding hand to help them understand abuse, and one doesn't.
So what
Yeah.
bender? What kind of bender would you be?
Oh, fire.
Earth. 1000%.
What is it with Earth?
Earthbenders
Nick
are the
wants to be
dopest.
Earth too.
Like,
And yet
it's just one of the
And yet an
coolest.
Earth character was not your favorite.
Oh,
Still.
bitch.
What about
Toph.
your?
Is Toph your favorite character?
Toph is
Toph
awesome.
is Nick's favorite character.
Toph
Toph
is
is
fucking just
amazing.
cool. Like, she invents a style of bending. That's
Metal
nutty.
bending.
Speaking of inventing a style of bending, though, we have been giving a lot of talk for Avatar: The Last Airbender. Has anybody
Oh, no.
anything to say about Korra?
We're not going to talk about Korra.
We're not going to talk about Korra?
That's a whole
Okay.
nother discussion.
That is a whole nother
Korra is the Mandalorians of Avatar.
I will agree.
Mm.
It is.
Avatar, like,
It is.
the entire season, 3 seasons of Korra.
But The Mandalorian was
Mandalorians.
good.
Or, sorry,
Korra's not bad.
Korra's not
Did I just mess
good.
up? I think I messed up. Oh,
Maybe.
Jesus. I'm a very bad
What'd you do?
Star Wars fan.
What did you just do?
Midichlorians is what I meant to say.
Oh, Korra is
Gotta love
the
those
midichlorians.
midichlorians.
Yeah, Korra, the entire 3-part series of Korra is midichlorians. Too much information about the really cool mystical
I
thing that
know.
we
Some things are
love.
good as a mystery.
Like,
Yeah.
honestly, we don't have to know the exact piece of lore for everything.
The whole thing about the harmonic convergence between the two opposing light and dark sides.
Again,
I was like,
stupid.
what? I was
I
like, why do
mean,
I need this?
Stupid.
It's just an easy way to create a story.
I will say the first
Boring.
season of Korra with what's his name, the bad guy who was taking people's bending away. That
Yeah.
was intriguing to me.
Yeah.
And then the series finale, I thought it was going to be like, okay, like this is going to be the main villain, and they already did such a good job of making him like intimidating and scary throughout the first season,
Yeah.
and then they just ended it. I felt like
Yeah.
each season of Korra didn't had a whole brand new
It's not
story, a whole
cohesive.
brand new
Yeah.
like
it's just not
villain.
cohesive, that's all.
And there
Yeah.
wasn't enough time for me to really be scared of any of the threats in any of the seasons because I knew by the end they would all be wrapped up anyway.
I didn't
Yeah.
like the Airbender dude. Like the evil
Tenzin?
Airbender dude. Yeah.
Oh, no, Tenzin
the
was
evil
Aang's son.
Airbender dude was pretty cool. But again, like it provides the whole series provides way too much. Here's exactly what makes the lore so interesting, and then that made it not interesting.
Once
Yeah.
again, no. Iconic defining gay moment for
What?
a web series because it is apparently canonical that Asami and Korra are in a lesbian relationship with each other at the end of season 3.
Yeah, it's pretty. They were as coy about it as they could be, but they definitely were.
It was
Yes.
verified by the story writers. They were like, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah. Which is cool. That's awesome.
But I wish it wasn't shoehorned in at the last minute. I feel like their relationship obviously existed throughout the show, but I didn't feel like any of the romantic parts of their relationship happened until literally their last couple of sentences.
I thought that's just how lesbians worked.
Oh.
And this this is us saying goodbye to all of our potential lesbian followers.
We lost Star Wars and lesbians, so
We've
now we
lost
have
it
no
now.
one in
I
our
know.
demographic.
Yes, just 2 jokes ruined the entire.
That was our entire demographic.
That was our entire demographic.
Star Wars
and lesbians.
fans, Star Wars fans and lesbians.
That'd be pretty hilarious.
Well, we lost them. So.
No, I love them all.
Wow.
Do you?
Yes.
He does.
What an apology. I love you all.
I love you all.
Yes, of course. It's just.
He's like, I watch your porn religiously. I've been a supporter.
Star Wars lesbian porn.
Yes.
Quaid's like,
it.
noted.
No,
He's like,
Like,
okay,
meta
writing
player.
that down. Write that down. Write that down.
Get that down.
All right. Well, needless to say, I think we are all very big fans of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and we're each impacted by the story as young adults. And I'm excited to see a new generation of people kind of go
Enjoy
through
it.
what we
Yeah.
went through and get to
Yeah.
have that discussion with
Yeah.
a younger generation.
it's really cool because, like one thing that I think doesn't get hit on enough for the series is
Me.
how
I do not
like
get hit on that.
influential, like how influential like martial arts is with it too.
Yes.
Like and how every like one thing that I thought was cool was for most of the series you see a martial arts style
Yeah.
movement happen with every single moment of bending.
Mhm.
Yeah, each bending style is based on a different form of martial arts. And
Right.
do you guys remember the little TV spot? Like, speaking of, one of the things you wanted to talk about was the Valorant marketing strategy.
Yeah,
Nickelodeon's marketing strategy for Avatar: The Last Airbender was there used to be these little TV spot commercial things where they talked about, like, this is
Yes, I
what the
remember
airbending,
this.
like, this is what the airbending style is, and they showed the actual, like, martial
I don't
artist.
remember
coming-
that
Oh
at
my gosh, we
all.
have to watch
so,
this.
It was
I
so
don't remember
cool.
that.
Yes, they literally came on screen and did the airbending
I don't remember
moves.
that.
Yeah,
Oh, it
and
was
like
amazing.
showed like what the real move was in real life.
Yeah,
And how like they semi adapted it, made air move around it.
and
I
they
don't remember
they
that.
explained what that fighting style is about and how it played into their representation of like
I
airbending
really
or
don't
waterbending.
remember any of that.
There's so much of it that
I
goes
watched
into
too
that.
much
So
TV.
good.
Like the fighting style for waterbending, like influenced how they wrote about waterbending because
That's
waterbending
so
was
cool.
always about how turning someone else's offense you can turn into your defense and everything. And I don't remember what the actual
Yeah.
martial arts style is, but that's exactly what the martial arts style is about too. And just like it's really cool how they took a concept and said, "What if we just made martial arts into like crazy mystical bending
Well, this
type
it
stuff?"
also like plays into like if you want to write a good story, you have to do a lot of
Research.
research,
Yeah,
and you have to be accurate and get it right, and like all of that. But
what was
also,
your favorite episode?
I don't have a favorite episode.
Really, I have a defining favorite episode.
I was going to mention. How do we feel about the live action? Remember the live action movie?
I have never
M. Night
watched it.
Shyamalan.
I never watched it. I have seen a couple of clips from it.
It's
and
only the first season.
it's only up
Yeah.
until the fight at the North Pole.
Yeah.
But I had only ever seen clips of it, one of which was like the earthbending camp, and there's like they literally do this like stomp thing like towards the firebenders, and then like
I don't
they-
remember that.
oh my gosh, it's horrible. I've never watched it.
I watched
but-
it a long time ago.
Isn't there supposed to be a new live action series that's coming out on Netflix?
I don't know. Is there?
I thought that there was. I thought that,
I wouldn't be
like people were
surprised,
talking
but-
about it and that there was concept art for it, but I haven't seen anything about it. Like-
Maybe they're changing their mind.
Maybe they're like, you know
Or
what, we
it's
don't need to
probably
redo
on hold.
this.
There's a lot of stuff that's on hold right now.
I don't think it needs to be redone.
Not everything needs to be turned into a live action movie.
No, I don't
Hello,
think it's necessary.
Disney.
Very true.
What
That's
Disney
another.
princess movie that they've redone has been good? Sleeping Beauty, not Maleficent. I mean, not Sleeping Beauty. Cinderella with
S-
Lily Rose, I think,
Lily something. I have not seen it.
and Game of Thrones guy. It's actually quite good. I thought
Really, I haven't seen it.
that's the only one that I think is good.
I think Mulan will be good,
But it wasn't sing-songy,
But that's my point. Is like I
so
don't
that's
think that
probably
there's.
why it was good.
That's like I don't see a need to recreate like a shot-for-shot music, note-by-note like remake of classic Disney movies
Yeah.
that are already good standalones. Like and this is the argument I always make, is that Maleficent, there's a reason to watch Maleficent versus watching Sleeping Beauty. There's a reason to watch it because it is the same story, but a different telling. It's a different
I like
version.
the different. Yeah,
It's not, and I think that they proved that when they did The Lion King, because The Lion King might as well have been a shot-for-shot
It
redo
was.
of the 1994 cartoon, and it was just I would have absolutely no reason
honestly,
to
guys,
watch
I
that
still haven't
over the other
seen it.
one. There's no
Yeah,
I
point.
didn't want to.
There's no point. What was your favorite Avatar episode? You weren't here when we asked it. Because you got up in the middle of the podcast and just walked away.
How
What a
rude.
call.
First he calls out Star Wars people, then
I
he
know.
hates lesbians.
And then he hates on lesbians, and then
Then
he
he
walks
just
out.
leaves. So unprofessional.
You can call your little brother back later.
Okay, so favorite episode?
I'm going to eat the other half of this biscuit.
No, I'm gonna eat that other half of that biscuit.
I'm going to get another half of that biscuit over there for you.
So what was your favorite episode?
God, that's really hard.
I said I don't have one because they're all so
What
good.
did you say?
I haven't answered.
He wants to show his
Oh my
ass.
god.
No, I'll go
honestly,
first.
honestly, I would probably go with whenever that 2-part episode when they're invading the fire capital.
Oh, the Day of Black Sun.
Yes,
Oh, that one's really good.
Mhm.
that was just like because that's the pivotal moment for a lot in the series. I think,
Yeah.
especially like Zuko and his character.
I've
Yes.
decided if I was a character that I'm the owl. in the library.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh my god, you would be. You
Oh my God.
freaking would be. You'd be like, I'm
The
sinking
spirit.
all of my knowledge. I'm taking it with
Or I'd
me.
be that professor.
Yes, the one
I
who
have to stay
like, stays in
here.
there.
Yeah.
No, my favorite episode was definitely the Fire Island episode. Where
Fire Island.
Well,
you mean they canceled?
the Ember Island one. The one where Azula, Ty Lee, May, and Zuko all go to the beach.
Oh
That's your
yeah.
favorite episode?
Yes,
Why
it
is
is
that one
so
your favorite?
good. It's so funny because you get to see these supposed villain characters be like
Oh, I
just
like
as
the
out of.
dance party one.
Yeah, like-
Hank shows them all how to dance.
Oh yeah,
That one's
Mhm.
cute.
Mhm.
you get to see these characters that up until this point have always been kind of like these villainous characters, and you
Mhm.
suddenly start to realize that they are as much affected by the circumstances of this war
Oh yeah.
as our main people
That's
are.
what makes them such
Yeah.
good characters.
Oh, God, it was
because
such a
they're
good episode.
well-rounded. Like,
Yeah.
there's not really anybody who's just totally evil.
And
Yeah.
Zuko has a great moment.
Unless
Other
you're a
in
than,
that.
psychopath.
other than the Fire Lord.
Yeah, he's pretty crazy.
Well, that's why he's not an important character. That's
Right.
why he's always shadowed and hidden because
Yeah.
the focus is on him because his character is flat. We
Right.
like just know he's an evil guy.
Right. Oh, just everything
Wonderful,
about all
wonderful,
of,
wonderful.
But he's so charming.
honestly, in the
Who?
episode,
Ozai.
Oh,
I love the episode too when damn it, no, this is spoiler territory.
Nick. Okay, so the other night we were watching it, and Nick was like, he loves I can't think of his name all of a sudden. Zuko's uncle,
Eyebrow.
Iroh.
Yeah.
When he's in jail and he's getting jacked, he's like,
Yes.
he's gonna rip his shirt off. Oh my god! He's like,
Yeah.
look at him, look at him.
Yeah.
And that's in the
Loves
Day of
him.
Black Sun one, isn't it?
Yeah.
That whole thing
Yeah.
where he escapes. Oh, and
Yeah.
I love whenever he's like, you need to be away from the prison this afternoon.
Yes.
It's so cute.
And I love, like, one of my favorite moments between him and Zuko is when they're both sitting in the jail cell.
The team evil.
Because like they shoot it in a way, or they draw it in a way to where it always looks like Zuko's the one who's actually in prison because he's the one who's actually struggling.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so it's so good. That show was too
I feel like
good
we can just talk about
for
this
12-year-olds.
forever.
I literally, one of the, like, we were talking about crying moments earlier.
Mhm.
Always gets me every single time is whenever, sorry, I'm about to tear up now, is whenever Zuko...
Why'd you just pour those drops in your eyes?
Stop it. Don't give away my secrets. Literally whenever Zuko finally reunites with his uncle after he's been broken out.
Oh
And
my god!
yes.
He's like breaking down crying
That's so
like
cute.
for him, and
There's
then
just
like
so many of those moments that are so perfect.
it is
Oh!
such a good show.
Just so like okay.
I've always wanted to be hugged by an old man like that.
I also cry when what's their father's name? Not Zuko. Sokka's father. What's their father's name?
Oh,
Oh,
What's his name?
oh my god!
Coda.
I can't
Something
think
like
of his
that.
name.
I thought it was something.
When she's crying on the boat and she like is
Yeah.
just so sad
Oh, yeah.
and Aang leaves.
He's
Yeah.
like, you're not talking about Aang, are you?
Yeah, that was such a good moment.
Yeah.
That was really sweet.
Yeah,
Hakoda.
But she's like,
Hakoda.
she's like,
It's
I know
Hakoda.
why you left. Like, I understand why you left, but why do I feel this
Yeah.
way? Like, ah! So
oh my
good.
gosh, another episode, the Boiling Rock episodes. With the
Oh my
prison,
God.
the Boiling Rock episodes.
Oh, those were good.
Remember when
Those
Zuko
are okay.
and Sokka go to the prison to get Hakoda.
Oh, yeah.
Such a good episode. And that's how they reunited with Suki and all that.
I do like the Canyon episode. I don't know why you don't like it.
I
The
just
two
feel-
lovers. I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, that's cute.
No,
the
that's
Two
a
Lovers
different
is a
one.
good
Wait,
episode.
which one are you talking
I'm talking
about?
about the two stupid warring tribes moving across the canyon.
The Zhang
Isn't that
and
the same one? Oh, no. That's a different one because there's hippies.
Yeah.
The Ganjin and the
I
Zhang.
love the
Yes.
hippies.
Whatever.
The hippies
I
and
love
love
that
episode is
episode.
hilarious.
Secret tunnel. Secret tunnel.
So good.
Oh my gosh.
So, should we do a quick positivity corner? Or
I feel like we need to do a positivity something because, I mean, we're going to keep talking until we do.
I know. So, anyone have a positive or
You said you
want to
did earlier.
share? No, I didn't.
Oh, I
Share
thought you did.
something.
Oh,
Share like something that you watched or something you think
Well-
a recommendation or something.
not necessarily something that I watched or a recommendation, but just something that was really a positive moment for me this week was yesterday. I got to spend the day with my nieces that I hadn't seen since like
yeah.
the start of the quarantine and stuff like that, and we spent all day at the pool just playing and just catching up on everything. And whenever they first noticed that Zach and I were there, they just ran right up and they just would not stop
Aw.
hugging us because they just missed us so much, and it was just a good day.
A good day. And
It was a
everyone
good
loves
day.
being missed.
I do.
Yeah. I like the fact that I got to make breakfast for you guys.
Aww.
It was fabulous.
That was a very good breakfast. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Like, I always love doing that. Like, I love being able to cook for people. It's one of, like,
Yeah,
my favorite
There's
ways
something
to...
really nice about it.
It's one of my favorite ways to show love.
It was a very good
The
experience.
home
The
cooked
food
meal
was
is always the
great.
best.
Yeah.
We love tacos to begin with, but like
Yeah.
having homemade tacos was really nice.
Breakfast tacos.
Breakfast
Mhm.
tacos.
Yeah.
And then there was some excitement, there was some thrill because the alarm started going off, so it had a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
It was just a well-rounded morning.
I mean, are you really cooking if you don't set off a fire alarm?
Exactly.
I'm not.
When we lived in an apartment, I always set off the fire alarm.
Really?
Yeah.
It was.
So it's not
just
just a us
It's just
problem?
very
Well,
sensitive
they're poorly
you're
vented.
you're in an apartment.
Yeah.
They
Because,
kind of
like,
have to be.
the way
Yeah.
that like the microwaves on top of the stoves thing work, like most of the time they don't take them up and out of the building. They take them up and out the vent at the top. So you're just funneling the smoke further up. Like they
Yeah.
don't go anywhere.
And ours, in
Oh,
our old
yeah.
one, it just would go into the ceiling. So like it
Yeah.
would leave a black like greasy
Grease mark
Like, it
up
didn't
there.
actually do anything.
Yeah, if you look underneath
Well,
like
I mean,
the
you're in
Stupid
an
stuff,
apartment.
It looks
How is
really
it going
bad.
to really?
I guess you're right.
Funnel out.
Anyways,
It's a whole nother topic of how apartments are
how
designed.
apartments are shitty.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Well, do you think we had one? You don't have one?
No, I don't really have a positivity thing. I just like I'm appreciating they're putting old shows like
Yeah.
for me to like nostalgically
Mhm.
Kind of re-go through.
1000%, yeah.
especially when they're like a show like that.
Okay,
I
so last Avatar thing. Top 5 show of all time, right?
Oh yeah, I would say absolutely.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
think so. I definitely think so.
I don't even know what would be in my top 5 though. There's so many fucking
I
There's so
have
many
shows.
good things, but like, what is as rewatchable?
SpongeBob.
Well, first of all, I don't disagree, but it's only like the
Bust
first.
this shit out.
Teen Titans. Are
Teen
you
Titans
kidding
is
me?
so good.
Teen Titans, which also
Except for
the
the
voice
last
of
episode.
Robin is Zuko.
Yes.
And Sokka.
Oh, really?
Or no, he's Sokka. Sorry, not Zuko.
I was like, what?
He's Sokka, and he plays like minor characters.
Oh, another cool thing. Sorry,
Go ahead.
did you know that like there's the age gap between Azula and Zuko is the same as Sokka and Katara?
Yes.
No.
I know they're the same ages.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Isn't that crazy?
I had no idea,
Why is that
actually.
crazy?
Well, it just shows like
It's a
cool how
parallel.
they're doing yes, that's what I'm saying. Parallels, and I love those.
Wow, it's like they wrote it like that.
That's what I'm saying.
I know it's details, it's just cool details.
Details.
But nobody recognizes all of those similarities right away. Unless you're apparently Micah, the
I
literary
mean, I
Like, I'm
pay
sorry.
attention to the story.
I'm sorry, I'm not a literary analysis
I
human
don't-
being.
But it's like you miss things. Like if you're watching a series for the first time all the way
Oh,
through,
no,
you don't
no,
notice
absolutely,
everything
absolutely.
right away.
Mhm.
Absolutely, yeah.
But no, it's definitely one of the top 5 shows of all time for me. I have never
We should
shown
make our
that show.
lists and then do an
Ooh.
episode of our lists and
I'm down.
why it's top
Yeah.
5.
Oh
I'm
god,
down.
that's gonna spark so much debate. I
Why?
have
I
never.
don't think
SpongeBob
so.
is an entire show. Hell no. SpongeBob for the first 3 seasons, yes.
Bitch, you did
Have
not.
you seen any of the new SpongeBob's? They're
Do you know
ass.
how many seasons there are of SpongeBob?
Like 20.
now?
Like 80.
There's so many.
Yeah.
I just have never showed Avatar to anybody who did not like it. I've never
That
met
is true.
anybody who
Mhm.
was like, I do not like Avatar.
Yeah.
Like
agreed.
even
That's
Zach has a I don't know, he does not get anime, and I know that Avatar is not anime, which is probably why he ended up
there's
liking
some
it.
people who don't like animated shows at all.
Yes, my stepmother's like that. She doesn't understand like people who watch cartoons.
My dad hates it.
Yeah, it's weird. But like I've never.
That doesn't mean anything.
But I've never met somebody who's watched it.
Yeah, but
that's a great point.
But in their mind,
also in my top 5.
Oh, absolutely.
In their mind, cartoon equals children, and they're adult, so therefore they don't watch.
Well, but here's my problem: is if they think that cartoons just equal children, then they're not paying enough attention to some of the cartoons, like especially Looney Tunes. It has a lot.
Looney Tunes is for
adult
adults.
jokes.
Those Nazi jokes.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
Also,
of
a cross-dressing bunny all the time.
Iconic. Bugs Bunny is one of the top cartoon characters up in history. Like, just perfect. I love Bugs Bunny.
Okay.
I love Bugs Bunny.
I didn't know we felt this strongly about this.
I love Bugs Bunny.
Looney Tunes is so great. The old Looney Tunes are
yes.
I
fabulous.
just haven't watched any of them in a long time.
They're so good.
I have the Boomerang app, so I've got them all.
They're so
You
good.
can come over, and I've been watching Looney Tunes on Saturday mornings. You can come over, we can have Saturday morning cartoons.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I like it. It's fun. All right.
Okay.
We got a shopper, also I'll just keep talking.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like I think the last 10 minutes was not about Avatar at all.
Well, let's wrap it up.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening again and choosing to subscribe to our channel. Please follow us on all of our social media platforms. I don't know how many of them are active yet.
Twitter should be open now.
Twitter?
By the time this comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to post the Game of Thrones versus Avatar.
Yes, that little picture.
I'll figure it out.
I'll post it on our Twitter. Don't worry, guys. It'll be up for you to look at.
Done.
All right, guys. Well, tune in next week for another topic. Actually,
that will be Avatar again. This podcast is now only Avatar.
That should be legalizing marijuana in Tejas, but it might be about 18 different topics. As you know, we ramble. It's all right. It's what you signed up for. Bye, guys.